He was once one of the most feared goalkeepers in the country, idol, captain, champion, a name that stood for success and respect. But everything changed when his life no longer took place on the pitch, but in police reports. Today, he lives far from soccer, without money and without fame. What happened to this man? How could a celebrated captain fall so far? Bruno Fernandes Souza was born on December 23, 1984, in Ribeirão das Neves. Even the first months of his life were marked by loss. At just 3 months old, he was abandoned by his parents and grew up from then on with his paternal grandmother. He never knew a stable family. His parents separated shortly after. It wasn't until many years later, in 2006, that Bruno would see his mother again, at a time when he was already a professional soccer player. His childhood was overshadowed by conflicts and family tragedies. His mother was reported for attempted manslaughter following a drug-related incident, and his father was wanted several times for theft. His brother also had problems with the law. This unstable environment deeply shaped Bruno's youth. Violence, insecurity, and a lack of direction were omnipresent. Growing up in such a reality leaves its mark and raises a crucial question. How much did this childhood influence the decisions Bruno would make later? Despite all the difficulties, Bruno saw soccer as a way to escape his environment. At just 12 years old, he began his career in the youth teams of the Venda Nova club in Minas Gerais. He had little money, often not even enough for the bus, but soccer became his only way out. From there, his path led him through smaller clubs like Santa Cruz and Tombense until he moved to Atlético Mineiro in 2002. 2 years later, he was integrated into the professional squad. He made his debut in 2005 against Internacional after several starting goalkeepers were sidelined. Bruno seized this opportunity immediately. He showed confidence, strong reflexes, and an impressive presence in goal. That same year, he was voted the second-best goalkeeper in the Brazilian Championship by Placar magazine. But parallel to his sporting rise, the first problems off the pitch began to emerge. In 2005, he was arrested after a fight, and a year later, again for reckless driving and resisting arrest. His talent was undisputed, but his behavior was already a warning sign. Was this early success the start of a great dream, or already the beginning of a dangerous downfall? In July 2006, Bruno's time at Atlético Mineiro ended. After 59 games and 67 goals conceded, he left the club. A move to Europe was briefly considered but did not materialize. Instead, he was passed on to Corinthians. His time there was chaotic and extremely short. After his official presentation in August 2006, Bruno left the club only a few days later. According to coach Emerson Leão, Bruno had missed a training session without explanation. This decision led to his immediate exit from the club, another early warning sign showing how hard it was for him to deal with discipline and responsibility. Only a few weeks later, Bruno moved almost unnoticed to Flamengo. The transfer took place through investors who held his rights. Initially, he was just a backup keeper behind Diego, but an injury to the starter changed everything. Bruno got his chance and took it. His performances convinced immediately. That same year, he became the number one. In 2007, he solidified his place in goal despite some inconsistencies. The turning point came in the final of the Campeonato Carioca against Botafogo. Bruno saved 2 penalties and secured the title for Flamengo. In that moment, he went from a substitute to an idol. But while he rose on the field, a crucial question arose. Could this new hero maintain control over his life, or were new problems already on the horizon? With growing success, Bruno's importance at Flamengo also increased. His name appeared more and more frequently in discussions about a possible move to Europe, but concrete offers failed to materialize. In 2008, the club decided to fully commit to him and acquired the majority of his transfer rights. That year, Bruno made history when he scored his first professional goal, a directly converted free kick in the Libertadores. He became the highest-scoring goalkeeper in the club's history. On the pitch, he seemed untouchable, but off it, problems began to pile up again. In June, he was accused of attacking a student, an incident that was settled with a mild punishment. Shortly after, a party at his estate ended in a police investigation due to an altercation with prostitutes. Bruno publicly tried to defend his image, but the consequences followed. Part of his salary was cut, and his behavior caused tension even within the team. Nevertheless, he remained decisive on the field. He scored another goal, became a hero in finals once again, and led Flamengo to the Brazilian League title in 2009 as captain, the first in 17 years. But while he was lifting trophies, the shadows around him deepened. Could a player at the height of his career truly lose everything, or had the turning point already been passed? In 2009, Bruno began a relationship with Elisa Samudio. What initially seemed like a private matter quickly turned into a highly problematic conflict. The relationship was marked by arguments, accusations, and tension. In October of that year, Elisa went public for the first time, stating that she had been threatened by Bruno. Despite these allegations, Bruno remained on the field. He excelled in sports, saved crucial penalties, and led Flamengo to the national title. But behind the scenes, the situation was escalating dramatically. Elisa was pregnant and declared that Bruno was the father of the child. She reported being pressured to terminate the pregnancy and had already initiated legal steps to have paternity recognized. In June 2010, Elisa Samudio suddenly disappeared. According to the investigation, she had been taken from Rio de Janeiro to Minas Gerais under the pretext of resolving matters concerning the child. There, all trace of her was lost. The young woman was never seen alive again. With her disappearance, Bruno's career effectively ended, and a new reality began. Was this just the tragic climax of a toxic relationship, or already the beginning of one of the country's most shocking criminal cases? After Elisa Samudio's disappearance, the evidence of a serious crime mounted. The investigation led to a property owned by Bruno and Esmeraldas in the state of Minas Gerais. Police assumed that Elisa had been held and killed there. Several people were named as accomplices, including Luis Enrique Romeo, known as Macarao, and Marcos Aparecido dos Santos, known as Bola. In July 2010, Bruno was arrested and immediately dismissed from the Flamengo squad. The former captain, who just months earlier had been celebrating titles, now appeared before the cameras in handcuffs. During the trial, incriminating statements, messages, and contradictions came to light, pointing to a premeditated act. In 2013, Bruno was sentenced to 22 years and 3 months in prison for murder, kidnapping, and the disposal of a body. The court identified him as the mastermind behind the crime, even without him directly carrying out the act. From idle to convicted criminal, a fall with no return. Can such a break ever be forgotten? After several years in prison, Bruno was granted temporary release in 2017. This led to something many thought unthinkable, an attempt to return to professional soccer. Despite his conviction, he was signed by smaller clubs, including Boa Esporte from Minas Gerais. The reactions were intense. Sponsors terminated their contracts, fans protested publicly, and the club was forced to take a stance. Every new appearance by Bruno sparked outrage. For a large portion of society, it was unimaginable that someone convicted of a serious crime should once again appear as a public sporting figure. In terms of sport, Bruno could no longer impress. His engagements remained short, and a new beginning did not succeed. The rejection outweighed any second chance. In the end, it was clear. There was no longer a place for him in soccer. But what remains for a former idol when even the last door is closed for good? After the failure of all comeback attempts, Bruno withdrew from the public eye. He began to lead a much more inconspicuous life. Today he works as a furniture delivery man at a store called Casa Unimar in Rio das Ostras on the north coast of Rio de Janeiro. Co-workers describe him as punctual and dutiful, with no issues in his daily work routine. In addition to this job, Bruno also tried to make a new financial start. In 2022, he opened a small acai shop in the nearby town of São Pedro da Aldeia. Despite his efforts, his daily life does not go completely unnoticed. Videos showing him making deliveries caused surprise and renewed discussions on social networks. At 40 years old, Bruno now lives far from the fame of his past. Instead of stadiums and cameras, work and routine now define his daily life. For many, this life seems shockingly down to earth. For him, it seems to be an attempt to find a new beginning, far from the spotlight. Is such a life punishment enough, or will the past forever remain a part of his present? The story of Bruno is the extreme contrast between fame and downfall. From celebrated captain and champion to convicted criminal, and finally to a life far from the public eye. His path shows how quickly success can shatter and how decisions can change an entire life. What do you think about this case? Is a new beginning possible after such a past? If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, share your opinion in the comments, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more stories.